All right, what's going on, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. It's time for another key comic flip through. We're going to get into Avengers issue number 57, first appearance of Vision. First off, holy cow, look at that cover. Absolutely gorgeous. I remember when I was getting into comic books, looking up some key issues, things like that, getting into the Avengers, I came across an image of this on the internet and I was like, holy crap, that is insane. And behold the Vision. What a great title. What a great name. I love the cloud effects and everything. He is there. He's massive, godlike, and it is awesome. Of course, we see some of our Avengers down here at the bottom. So let's get into this one. Avengers number 57, 12-cent cover. This is the original copy. This is a copyright of October 1968. Again, issue number 57. Roy Thomas, got to meet him over in Huntsville this year, and I got him to autograph the first page as well. So again, I just love this cover so much. I'm like, yeah, dude, I just need you to autograph that first page, old school style. So what do we got going on in here? We see Vision right off the bat. Kind of unusual in a way when you see these key comics. They're usually not featured in the first couple of panels with inner monologue and this full body and everything like this. It's a little bit weird. But he's basically walking through the rain right now, trying to attack the Pims, who we're going to see here just in a moment. And of course, we have Hank over here and Jan as well. They were going to go on a date, but Hank's got some important stuff to do at the lab. So basically, Jan got stood up by some microorganisms, and she makes a little joke about that. She gets stood up for some germs in a lab, no less. That's what she says. Vision, propped outside her window, kind of peering in this conversation, going to take her out as soon as Hank leaves the place. She notices the window is wide open. She feels the breeze. Who's over there? Somebody that she does not recognize actually leaps into the room, starts to attack her, saying, "Your time has come, Janet Van Dyne, and there's nothing you can do to stay your fate." And so she, quick thinking, she actually pops into her wasp form, falls out of her clothes, runs through a keyhole right here, and goes back into her normal form, trying to figure out what the heck that was. Who was that? Why are they after her? What is going on? Thinking she's safe behind a real thick, sturdy door. We all know that Vision can change the density of his body and actually go through objects, and he starts coming through the door or through the wall right here. Much to her surprise, she is completely shocked, terrified even at what is happening, even dodging some of his heat ray right here, which he says he can increase the power of, pretty much sealing the fate of Jan right here. But something happens at the last minute. He has somewhat of like a seizure, this unbearable pain that knocks him completely out and pretty much unconscious on the floor. So Jan actually activates her communicator. Hank gets the signal, actually reaches Goliath form to like King Kong his way up the building to her rescue. And when he gets up here, he goes right through the window, which they have a funny argument about, like, did you have to bust through my window? I stopped this guy, but did you have to take my window out at the same time? But it was pretty funny. There a little banter there. And so they see our Vision character passed out on the floor, and they have the idea to take this person back to Avengers headquarters to analyze him, figure out who he is, what his motivations are, and where exactly did he come from. But then meanwhile, we touch base with Black Widow, and we have Hawkeye over here. There's this weird like sexual tension between them. She's wanting to go on dates or something like that, and or maybe team up with him a lot, which I think is interesting, you know, just to get close to him. And he's kind of like, you know, I risked my life to try to be with you and stuff like that. And it's just not worth it maybe. And so they have a little banter right here, but they also get the signal to come to the Avengers headquarters because they have some kind of mysterious person that just kind of attacked Jan. So they got to figure all that out. Again, meanwhile, we have our Black Panther. We have T'Challa right here. He's actually walking through the street right now. He's going through a crisis of like faith. What kind of life does he have to lead? You know, he came from a really advanced civilization. He had all this wealth, all this stuff. He was an Avenger right now. You know, what does he have to do to kind of step up and do what he needs to do to save the day? And then all of a sudden he hears somebody call out for help. He's actually being robbed by these gunmen over here. And luckily Black Panther was like brooding, walking through the streets in a this monster kind of a style. But so we have our gunmen over here. They're trying to make a quick getaway, and this is an amazing panel right here. They jump into the getaway car, these robbers do, and Black Panther comes flying through the window, kicking the driver right through the windshield into the seat. I love that panel. It is so cool. And then he throws the other guys out of the car down to the sidewalk to stop those guys from escaping. So I thought that was really cool. And again, we have some of the local kids coming up saying like, oh man, I wish he was on my block, things like that. So really, really cool like introduction to Black Panther in here. And then of course we switch over to our Avengers headquarters where Hank and everybody's analyzing Vision, trying to figure out what is going on, talking about this synthezoid, which is the name they use for like artificial humans, things like that. Like it has a human mind, human thoughts, things like that, but it has like this synthetic body that covers out this soul that he seems to have. But again, in the process of analyzing him, he seems to wake up and basically tries to get back into that frame of mind of, I have to kill the Avengers, I must kill them. He says, perhaps I am what the Wasp called me, a vision of death for the Avengers. And of course, immediately starts wrecking shop again. Our Avengers team jumps back into action. Hank goes back into Goliath form. We have Black Panther and Hawkeye trying to do what they can do, but he just basically, Vision basically just swats them right off of them. But still in Goliath form, very formidable, grabs onto Vision and uses some of Vision's dialogue against him, saying he can control his density. And so he actually, Hank actually uses that to his advantage and pins him down, trying to get him to confess what his motivations are, who sent him, things like that. Then there's like this weird transition in the actual battle itself. Again, on the previous pages, he was really going at it, throwing people around, things like that. I was sent to destroy you, and I must. But then the next page we flip over, he's basically chilling in a chair, relaxing, trying to figure out like, I don't know the truth. I don't know who sent me. I don't have all these answers, things like that. But they keep questioning a little bit more, and then he reveals that Ultron 5 is the one who created me to destroy you, the Avengers, and that we have to go stop him because it's the right thing to do. So basically they have a team up moment here where they get inside of their air cruisers, going to a base where Ultron 5 is actually hiding right now, a stronghold that even Jarvis could not find because of some memory blocks. And because Ultron sent Vision over here, the gates open up, allowing them to go in there. Vision quickly reminds them that, hey, we are on Ultron's territory now, so he's probably watching us, so we need to be careful of any kind of traps that he might have set for us. And that's exactly what we have here with this big giant flame cannon that he shoots over at our Avengers, nearly hitting them, separating Black Panther from the team. So some quick thinking is needed here. Goliath actually tries to transform back into his form, but falls through a trapdoor and actually gets into a one-on-one battle with Ultron 5 over here, and it does not go very well. Taking some gut punches, being thrown on the floor, things like that, and being just basically knocked out. And while this is happening right here, Ultron actually sets another trap for our Avengers heroes, basically creating a wall that's going to collapse on top of them. And so they need to get out of this situation as fast as possible, but there's really no one around to save them. But here's where the clutch play comes in. We have Vision talking to Hawkeye and Black Panther, basically saying, you can phase through the wall, you can leave this collapsing room, go take on Ultron yourself, beat him up, stop this machine, save the day. And that's exactly what happens over here, confronting his maker, asking him all kinds of questions about, why'd you make me? How did you make me? All these things. Why do I have all these feelings when I'm basically just a robot? I wanted to highlight this shot right here because I think this is really, really cool, how menacing this looked, like he's been waiting for him. And I think we took a shot from this in the MCU, perhaps. I feel like I've seen that shot in one of the movies, something like that, just like I've been waiting for you kind of a look, but kind of a turn back right there. I think that's awesome. Then we have some basically like some box art kind of things going on over here. Their battle ensues, and Ultron is getting the upper hand. He's taking care of Vision, knocking him around a little bit. He's going to throw him into this big vat of energy, I think he calls it. But what he doesn't remember is that Vision can basically change the density of his body, doing so at the very last second, almost down to near zero, to not be affected by that energy right there. And in doing so, he gets the upper hand again, infuriating Ultron to the point where he's going to jump through him and basically smash his head, which has the controls and regulators and whatnot on either side of his head, hitting his head, essentially stopping the machine, rescuing our heroes, and they go back and they actually find a lot of the pieces left over from Ultron after this big explosion. And then what's cool is there's this real poetic ending right here where you have the rubble from the whole compound over here. You basically have his head with the two little controlling devices on either side. And there's like this little, almost like a poem written over here. And this little boy is basically kicking him around, flipping some switches, doing some stuff like that. And we get our skull of a Ultron over there at the end. So that is really cool. Then, of course, in classic form, we have tons and tons of editorials and ads and things like that. So that is Avengers issue number 57. Again, what an amazing cover this is. First thing that stood out, absolutely love that. And the story is not too bad either. A little bit unusual, I would say unusual, to have the first appearance of the character be spotlighted the way that it is inside of here, but he's throughout the entire book, quickly going from villain to ally to savior in this book. And he's also trying to figure out his past. He's trying to figure out his creator's motivation. Why does he feel the way he does? How is he made up of the material he's made up? How can he get the Avengers to trust him? Things like that. So I think it was a real interesting book that went in a lot of different directions. It's a long book too, I feel like. And it was quite enjoyable to read. A lot of the battles were really fun. And it was basically like a, questioning your creator. Why are you around? What's your purpose? How'd you get here? And not really getting the answers you need at the end of the book. So very, very cool issue. Let me know what you guys thought about that one down below. And while you're down there, if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button and check out the join button as well. And as always, I appreciate you watching the video. We'll see you guys down below in the comments.